More than 70 cyber tips, a March search warrant, and 100 criminal charges now form the public timeline in the Blake McKinniss case. But the biggest unanswered question is no longer just what investigators say they found inside a Sanford home. It is what prosecutors will be able to prove as this case moves from a dramatic arrest announcement into the court process. On January 27, 2006, in Sanford, Florida, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement says it began investigating after receiving more than 70 cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to state authorities, those tips pointed investigators toward online activity involving alleged child sexual abuse material and AI-generated material of the same kind. If you value careful, fact-based crime documentaries, please subscribe, like, and share to support the Courtroom. That early date matters because it shows this case did not begin with a random patrol stop or a public tip at a neighborhood address. It began with digital leads, and investigators say those leads were specific enough to identify Blake McKinniss as the person tied to the activity under review. From there, the case moved quietly for weeks, with agents building evidence before taking public action. The next major turn came on March 9, 2026, when FDLE's Cybercrime Task Force and Special Operations Team executed a search warrant at McKinniss's residence. Authorities say they seized multiple electronic devices, and a preliminary forensic review identified multiple digital files containing alleged child sexual abuse material. State officials also said investigators found child-themed bedrooms and other items inside the home, despite saying no children lived there. That search is the center of the public case so far, because it is where investigators say the digital evidence and the physical evidence came together. But at this stage, the public record is still limited. Authorities have publicly outlined the investigation dates, the broad categories of evidence, and the charge counts. They have not publicly released a full trial presentation or a complete evidentiary roadmap beyond those announcements. Then, on March 17, 2006, the case became public in a much bigger way. Florida officials announced that Blake McKinniss, 37, had been arrested and was facing 100 criminal charges. 43 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, 46 counts tied to possession of AI-generated child sexual abuse material under the wording used in the state announcements, and 1 count involving possession of a childlike sex doll. That charge breakdown is one of the most important facts in the case, because it shows prosecutors are treating the alleged digital evidence and the alleged AI-generated material as separate parts of the same prosecution. That distinction also explains why this case has drawn immediate statewide attention. It is not only a possession case as publicly described by authorities. It is also a case that places alleged AI-generated material directly inside a criminal filing announced by state officials. And instead of remaining with only a local office, the case is being handled by Florida's Office of Statewide Prosecution, the unit that handles certain complex cases with broader statewide reach. The legal process is still in its early phase. As of the Attorney General's March 17 release, McKinniss was being held in the Seminole County Jail on a $350,000 bond. Local reporting the same day said an arraignment in Seminole County is expected next month. FDLE has also said the investigation remains active and that additional charges may be forthcoming after further forensic analysis of the devices seized during the search. So where does that leave the case now? It leaves it at the point where the public has an arrest, a charge count, and a broad investigative timeline, but not yet the full courtroom battle that will test the evidence. McKinniss has been charged, not convicted. The defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. As of the latest available information, proceedings are ongoing. The next verified question is the one that matters most: whether deeper forensic analysis adds new counts and how prosecutors will present the allegations involving AI-generated material once the case reaches its next formal court stage. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the Courtroom.